Have you ever taken up a new hobby or started a new job and within a couple weeks you're wondering, what in the world have I gotten myself into? I recently started a new project and within a month I was second guessing myself. My name is Jordan and this is Chasing Jesus. I come from a family of hard workers. We're talking about back aching, blisters on your fingers, come home from work every day, dog tired workers. Specifically, I had grandparents who worked really hard maintaining a garden that was big enough for our entire family. Closer to the end of their lives, they would invite all of their grandchildren over to help out. It became a family affair, picking beans, stringing beans, shucking corn, the works. We were there all the time. They both passed away a few years ago, but our family decided to pick up their legacy and have a garden this year. Now, I've dabbled with raised garden beds in the past, but this was totally different. It was pretty ambitious, and we have a huge garden, so this wasn't just my hobby. I had brothers, sisters, aunts, cousins, everybody coming out to participate in this family event. The very first night that we met together at this land that was freshly tilled and prepped and ready to go, my mind immediately went to countless scriptures that I've seen in the Bible, all about reaping and sowing and, well, gardening. There's the law of sowing and reaping in Galatians chapter 6. There's Jesus' prayer for laborers in Matthew chapter 9, where he says, I pray for workers because the harvest is plentiful, but the laborers are few. There are so many parables that relate to scattering seed and farmers that are out in their fields. When we planted seeds on that very first night, I was pretty concerned because the ground was rocky and dry and hard, and I wasn't sure that anything we were planting was going to come up. But sure enough, 2 weeks later, we showed up and the ground that had started out as completely dry and rocky was covered in greenery. Everything was blooming. God's word is just like that. It's a seed that we plant deep in our heart and trust that it'll produce and become fruitful. Isaiah 55 verses 10 and 11 says, For as the rain and the snow come down from heaven and do not return there, but water the earth, making it bring forth and sprout, giving seed to the sower and bread to the eater, so shall my word be that goes out from my mouth. It shall not return to me empty, but it shall accomplish that which I purpose, and shall succeed in the thing for which I sent it. If you consistently plant God's word in your heart, it has no choice but to produce fruit. Maybe that looks like you becoming more patient as a parent, or maybe you notice that you're more selfless and deeper in your love for your spouse. Maybe that coworker that used to really bug you isn't quite as annoying anymore because you have a tad bit more grace. No matter what, God's word will produce in your life exactly what it's meant to. It has to. But there's one big kicker that I didn't plan on. Our vegetables weren't the only thing that was growing in our garden. There were weeds and clover and thorns and briars everywhere. This was Mark's account of the parable of the sower coming to life right before my eyes. Verses 18 and 19 says, Others are like seed sown among thorns. These are the ones who hear the word, but the worries of this age, the deceitfulness of wealth, and the desires for other things enter in and choke the word, and it becomes unfruitful. I'm willing to bet that more often than not, this is exactly what we experience in our life. We don't necessarily plan to plant God's word around thorns and thistles. Who would do that on purpose? But that's not what we did with our garden either. When we planted, there was not a sight of briars or thorns or weeds. In fact, our plot of land was completely void of weeds and thorns and thistles when we got started, but somehow they came up anyway, even more so than the vegetables that we had planted. So we found ourselves spending hours with garden tools, pulling weeds and carefully trying to dodge the vegetables that we really did want there. God's word will always grow in our lives, but it's the unwanted things that we have to be on guard for. For you, that may look like not listening to music that's encouraging or uplifting, or maybe it's spending hours upon hours binging on Netflix. Maybe it's coworkers or classmates that you know aren't a great influence for you. My concern is not that God's word won't produce fruit in me. I know that it will. but I worry that I may be sabotaging myself by allowing too much other junk in my heart and choking out what He's trying to do in me. Luke 6:45 says, "A good man brings good things out of the good stored up in his heart, and an evil man brings out evil things out of the evil stored up in his heart. For the mouth speaks what the heart is full of." We are constantly planting into and reaping from our spirits. We make deposits into our heart, and we're able to draw on the very same things that we put in. What we put in is definitely what will come out time and time again. So my challenge for us this week is this: take inventory of your life. What are you putting into your heart, and what are you putting into your spirit? As you chase Jesus, I pray we protect and guard those seeds and watch God grow something beautiful in our lives. Hey, we hope that you enjoyed today's video. If you did, subscribe and hit the like button below. It helps us push our videos out to more people who are on a journey chasing Jesus. Boom.